Did you earn tip income and have no idea how much of it actually qualifies for the no tax on tips? Well, you're not alone. In this video, I'm going to break down clearly, simply, and without any IRS jargon, just how much of your tips you can deduct. I'm going to walk through line by line how to complete Schedule 1A, which is a new form for 2025. The Schedule 1A is used to calculate the no tax on tips, but it's also used to calculate the no tax on overtime, no tax on car loan interest, and the enhanced senior deduction. But for today's video, I'm only going to focus on the no tax on tips. I'll do a separate video where I'll cover the other sections. I should also point out that the Schedule 1A is currently in draft form and there are no instructions from the IRS yet. So hopefully there'll be some instructions forthcoming, but in the meantime, let's jump right into it and let's walk through the form on how to complete it. Okay, this is the new IRS Schedule 1A form that's part of 1040. This is a new form as of 2025. And like I said earlier, it is currently in draft form. So hopefully we'll have a finalized version by the time tax season rolls around. And also, as I mentioned earlier, there are currently no instructions. So hopefully those instructions will be available too. But this form is in 6 parts. And I'm only going to walk through part 1, which is the calculation of the modified adjusted gross income, part 2, the no tax on tips, and then part 6, which is the additional deductions. The other parts are the ones about no tax on overtime, the senior deduction, the car loan interest. Like I said earlier, I'm going to do a separate video on those. But let's go ahead and focus on part 1 right now, which is the modified adjusted gross income. So this is important because many of the eligible income thresholds or thresholds for different types of things are based off of the modified adjusted gross income. So when they're calculating the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, it's using the modified adjusted gross income as the threshold, not the adjusted gross income. And if you don't know the difference between modified adjusted gross income and the adjusted gross income, watch my other video I did where I go through in detail the differences between those two calculations. But let's go ahead and assume that we're working on your tax return and you have a adjusted gross income of $250,000 and you're doing married filing jointly. You're currently married and you're filing jointly and your adjusted gross income is $250,000 as you can see on line 1. Now what we have to do is we have to add back some items to get to the modified adjusted gross income as it's calculated using this form. You'll see that line 2, A, B, C, and D is adding back income from other various sources. In this case, it's adding back income that you've earned in Puerto Rico that you excluded on your original 1040. It's also adding back any income from Form 2555, which is foreign income, which is foreign earned income. And line 45 of 2555 is the amount of foreign income that you excluded from your income on your 1040 under IRC section 911. It reduces your adjustable gross income on your 1040, but in this case, it has to be added back to calculate your modified adjusted gross income. The other line 50 from Form 2555, this represents any housing costs that you incurred while you were living or working overseas that the IRS allows you to exclude or deduct when you're calculating your foreign earned income exclusion. This also gets added back to calculate your modified adjusted gross income. Line 2D from Form 4563, this is if you live and work abroad in certain U.S. territories, Congress allows you to exclude income from your U.S. tax return even though you may be otherwise subject to U.S. taxes. So you would add these back to calculate your modified adjusted gross income. Most people do not file any of these forms, but it's on this, so we have to, I'm walking you through it. But for this example, I'm going to assume you have no income from foreign sources and you don't live in Puerto Rico or you don't live in other U.S. territories. So this puts us right at line 3. Essentially, it's the same as line 1 because we're not adding back any of this foreign earned income. Now let's move on to part 2 where we calculate your no tax on tips, how much of your tips are not taxable. You'll notice there's a caution up here. It says, fill out part 2 only if you received qualified tips and in certain occupations that count as part of those qualified tips. I'm going to include a link to those lists of qualified occupations in the video description below. So you'll be able to see what those occupations are. And there's quite a few of them actually. So a lot of people would qualify for these tips that you wouldn't otherwise think, such as like golf caddies, things like that. Now let's go to each of these lines. So let's start with line 4. It appears you would only complete line 4 if you have tips from only a single employer or a single occupation. It says here, if you receive tips from more than one employer or more than one occupation, then you have to refer to the instructions. But the instructions are not yet available. So if you do have income from more than one employer, or if you have tips from more than one employer or more than one occupation, then you'll have to wait for the instructions to come out to know exactly how to complete the section. Now, in line 4A, this is where we're going to put your qualified tips as an employee that were reported to you on your W-2 in box 7 of your W-2. Now, let's assume that you earned $30,000 of tips from a single employer and a single profession as a waiter. Let's assume you're a waiter, you earned $30,000 of tips during the year. You would complete line 4B if you had to file form 4137. This is the form you would complete if you received tip income that were not reported to your employer. So for example, if you received some cash tips and they were not captured on your W-2 and they were not reported to your employer, you would complete form 4137 because those cash tips were not subject to Social Security and Medicare tax. So you would have to pay tax on those tips. Let's assume that you had no unreported tips, so you did not file form 4137. All of your tips were reported on W-2. So we're going to leave line 4B blank. Now, line 4C, this line asks you to enter the larger of lines 4A or 4B. In this case, we're going to put the $30,000, which is from 4A, line 4A. Line 5, this is if you've earned tips as a self-employed person or self-employed individual, which would be reported on your 1099 NEC or 1099 miscellaneous. Let's assume you also had no tips earned as a self-employed person. Also, a quick side note, if you're not familiar with the 1099 NEC or the 1099 miscellaneous, watch my other video I did where I go through in depth on the differences between those two types of 1099s. So for line 5, we're going to put 0. In line 6, we add lines 4C and 5 for a total of $30,000. In line 7, it's asking us to enter the smaller of line 6 or $25,000. Now, since line 6 is $30,000, your tip income was $30,000, we would enter the $25,000, which is the maximum deduction. If your tip income was $20,000, then we would put $20,000 into line 7. Line 8 is where we put the modified adjusted gross income that we calculated in part 1 of this form. So if we go above, we'll see the modified adjusted gross income was $250 that we calculated, and then we're going to put that on line 8 right here. So the $250 right here. And then in line 9, since you're married filing jointly, we would enter the maximum allowed, which is $300,000. That's the threshold in line 9. And then line 10 asks us to subtract line 9 from line 8 to determine how much of your tips are deductible based on the modified adjusted gross income. And since the modified adjusted gross income is less than the $300,000 threshold, you would get the full $25,000 deduction, and it would go on line 13. See, it says if it's less than 0, then enter the amount on from line 7 on line 13. So it would go directly on line 13. What would happen is we would take that number from line 13 and we would put it on part 6, line 38. So if we go all the way to the bottom, you'll see there's other sections: no tax on overtime, no tax on car loan interest, enhanced senior deduction, and then we put that total right down here. If we also had the deductions from the other sections, we would sum those and put those here as well. But it would go on line 38, and then from line 38, it would go on to your 1040. Basically, this is right below where you get the qualified business income deduction. So that's how you calculate the no tax on tips. Now let's see what happens if your modified adjusted gross income is higher than the $300,000 threshold. What happens with your deduction, with your tip deduction? Okay, so I created this spreadsheet to see what would happen if your modified adjusted gross income was greater than the $300,000 threshold. So you'll see in the first one, let's assume it's $325,000, and I basically just took the wording directly from Schedule 1A Part 2 into here. So you would put the $25,000, which is a maximum tip allowed deduction. Remember, we assumed you had 30,000, but the maximum is 25,000. Then we would enter your modified adjusted gross income from line 3 in part 1 that we calculated. In this case, it's 325,000, not the 300,000 or the 250 we calculated under the first scenario. And then because the threshold is 300,000, line 10 asks us to subtract the 300,000 from the 325, giving us a $25,000 difference. Then it asks us to divide line 10 by 1,000, giving us 25. And then in line 12, it asks us to multiply line 11 by 100 to get to the 2,500. Then we subtract line 12 from 7. So we take the 2,500, we subtract it from the 25,000, and it gives us a maximum deduction of 22,500. That means that as your income goes above the $300,000 threshold, in this case, it went $25,000 more, your tip deduction slowly diminishes. And what I wanted to see is at what point does it entirely diminish? You'll see at a $350,000 modified adjusted gross income, your total tip deduction goes down to $20,000, and then at $550,000 of modified adjusted gross income, your total tip deduction becomes zero because it's $250,000 more than the allowable amount. And then when it goes to the calculation of dividing it by 1,000, you get 250, multiplying it by 11, you get 2,500. That comes out to exactly the limit of 25,000, giving you a zero deduction. So once you hit that 550,000 mark and you've got tip income of more than 25,000, you're not going to get any of it. But if you're below that amount, you're going to get some portion of it. But if you're below the 300,000 amount of modified adjusted gross income, you'll get the full $25,000 deduction. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If there's something else you want me to cover, or if you have a question, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you.